Welcome back. I bet you had a whole bunch of fun kind of troubleshooting your new feed that you had to put into Google Shopping. So now that we've made it through the very, very tedious stuff with Google Shopping, I really want to move on to kind of let your creativity roll, right? Now it's time to get into really creating more of that visual perspective and the image ads and telling that story to get people acquainted with your brand. And the way we're going to do that is with Google Display. Now with Google Display, it's again GDN networks. These are people that have opted into the AdSense program to allow image ads, text ads, or video ads on their website or Google YouTube, right? So those two platforms are going to be where these display ads have the capability to show, whether or not they're video ads, image ads, responsive image ads, or text ads, right? Those are the different formats that are going to be able to be shown on, Google Display, excuse me. So what we're going to do within this video is just walk you through real quick the settings and how to basically construct the format of your ads before we really get into the nitty-gritty of the high-level optimization of device targeting versus exclusions and bid modifiers and all that fun stuff. So first off, what we want to do is just go ahead and hit new campaign, right? Now in this, again, it's just like we've started all other campaigns. We want to do sales, leads, website traffic, product brand consideration, create campaigns, and what are we trying to do? We're trying to get sales, right? We're trying to get leads, but depending on what our product is, depending on how far they are up the funnel, it may or may not be where we have that impact point, right? So what I'm going to go with a lot of times is just this website traffic, because my goal with the majority of my display campaigns is just to get that cookie attached, right? I want to get people to the website so they can get that initial impression, and we can attach that cookie so we can follow them around and build that value and move them down more towards the conversion point, right? With creating additional impact with visuals and video ads and so on. So as you go down through here, right, we're going to click website traffic. We're going to click on our display. You have a couple different display campaign options, right? You have your normal display network, which is going to go out across the GDN network, or you have the Gmail campaigns, right? Gmail campaigns, they only show up in Gmail. So that's something that, it might work into your funnel depending on what you have, but it's definitely more of a strategic campaign because they're not going to have the highest volume, right? And additionally, you really want to have more cookie data and information before you start using Gmail campaigns. Gmail campaigns are definitely more mid-funnel campaigns. You're not going to want to do a whole lot of prospecting within Gmail just because of the nature of people in their email. They're engaged in reading their emails, not trying to find stuff to shop for. All right, so as we go down here, we're going to put our business website in here, .com. We're going to hit continue. We go to the settings page. Now, follow the same thing you do within search campaigns. That shouldn't change here, right? Collateral growth, display, responsive, image ads, and I'm going to do remarketing. 95% of you are going to start off with a remarketing campaign as your first display campaign, right? It just gives you a greater reach in being able to actually show where your clients are showing up, right? And that's the biggest thing about these is tying that audience in. Now, we talked about it previously, so utilize that as your first campaign, but as we go down and we actually build these things out, right, you're going to have your location, the languages, you have your bidding and budgeting, just like you do within the other ones. The only limitation is it's going to be conversion or viewable impressions. I'm going to go with conversions. I'm a performance-based, that's what my jam is, right? I need to be able to validate my results. So I'm going to do conversions, manually set my bids, and I'm going to do it according to clicks. This automatically maximize conversions, it sounds all well and good, but I've seen honestly cost per conversions and typically about 30% higher by utilizing that. Budget's going to be the same as you go down through here. You can do this, and then you have your additional settings, right, where we're going to cover these a little bit more in the next section, but such as your ad rotation, you have your scheduling, your start and end date, your device, your frequency capping, and all of this fun stuff that you go down through here. The main thing that we're going to be creating within this video as we're setting these up and the normal settings that we're putting in here is these are more about kind of you have your account level targeting, and then you have your campaign level targeting, right? Now, these are the content targeting that we have here, right? We can do keywords, topics, and placements. That's the additional advantage that you have over what search has seen. Like the RLSA and remarketing campaigns that you've seen within search they're not going to have the keywords or topics or placement. They're going to have the keywords, but they're not going to have the topics or placements, right? You're going to be just doing audiences or keywords. This particular one, you're also going to have, the ad reach. We can adjust as well once we put that in there. And you've got your ad group bid. So as you see within setting these campaigns up, they're very kind of, it's the same format that you're going to follow through in, the normal account, right? The main thing where you're going to also have some additional route up here is in this, settings within the account, right? You've got your account settings. Now, these is also display targeting that you need to be mindful of, right? You have your account settings and your campaign settings, which is what we went through just a second ago, right? You've got your location targeting in there, and we'll dive deeper into that in the next video, such as about how to, how, when, how far, and how fast, such as the reach and the impressions and exposure and clicks and all that fun stuff. But you really need to make sure that at the top level that you have all of your account targeting as well whenever you're doing display, because some of these things are going to be synonymous through all your campaigns. And that's what giving the ability to set them at the account level, it just saves time, right, later on, so that something is automatically default whenever you create a campaign. So all of a sudden, you're not really jumping into something sexually charged or tragic, or it's going to shock and awe your customer, rather than something that's going to equate a very positive experience, right? So that's what these account settings are capable for. And up here, right, you've got your tracking. You can do a tracking template. You can do auto tagging here, message reporting turned off. I usually turn this on. All right. Your call reporting, all right, we're going to turn that on as well. The inventory type, right? This is the main one that's going to be referenced in the display, right? You've got your limited inventory, your standard inventory, your expanded inventory. It gives descriptions on what they are. Depending on what your budget is, or even what your product is, right? You may want to just start off with limited inventory. This is a lot of times what I'll start off with display, because the GDN network it's huge, right? And you can blow through money so quickly, and you can blow through money in such a way that you don't see patterns or even have data where you can optimize based off of. So a lot of times what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off on this limited inventory at the account level to make sure that any campaign that I create, whether or not it be a YouTube or a display campaign, that I have the most tightly knit kind of content, right? You can see under the standard inventory what it is, like same as exclusions as expanded, and also excludes, for example, repeated strong profanity, strong sexual content, and discussions of sex, violence, either real or dramatized. So the standard is really going to take that really shocking and awe content out of there, but the limit is even going to get rid of like profanity, moderate profanity, or moderately sexually suggestive content. Okay, so this is going to be like your basically your tightest Venn diagram that you can get, right? It's under the limited inventory. I'm going to start off campaigns depending on what the overall volume is, right? If it's something that has a lot of volume behind it, I'm going to start it on limited inventory, right? If it's something about music, the environment, such stuff that's very, very newsworthy, or has very, very frequent news cycles, I'm going to start off with limited inventory so that I can control, because I can always expand out, right? With worst case scenarios, I'm just not getting the volume, and I just expand, right? By this point in time, I should already have my golden goose with the Google search and remarketing campaigns delivering and making me profitable. Now we're just looking about how to expand in more profitable ways, right? And a lot of that, depending, again, what your product is, right? If I'm, talking about, motocross racing or crazy, chive shirts or something along those lines, right? Then standard inventory is probably going to be a lot more relevant for me, because this stuff, repeated strong profanity, strong sexual content, like this stuff I still don't want to be associated with. But somebody that says shit on a video, or, where a bikini video, something like that, hell, half the videos that Chive makes fall into this particular category. So they would be, eliminating 95% of their own content. But those are the settings that you can control at the account level. These are also available at the campaign settings, but what I'll do a lot of times is set them at the account level, just to make sure that as I'm creating these campaigns, with YouTube and display, or even my smart shopping campaigns, that they're not going out on content that's going to be counterintuitive to the brand, or align me with something that isn't the same as our branding, right? And that would include, repeated strong profanity, really highly sexual content. If you do expanded inventory, right, you've got excludes extremely sensitive content, for example, excessive profanity, graphic sexual content, nudity, graphic violence, and serious injury, right? So this is pretty much just going to give all of it, right? It's going to exclude a little bit, the really, really extreme stuff, but you're pretty much just going to be on about every, available site that's on there, unless it's something really, really bad, right? And that's those I'm going to set, like I said, at the limited or standard delivery, and then I can always expand it as I'm getting better performance within the account. You can expand to these, because one thing that you can pretty much guarantee about these audiences, like if somebody's seeking out very, very sexually suggested content, or very, very strong worded content or violent content, it's going to be that much harder to pull them away from that content and try and make a sale, right? So these are going to be much more in line with getting that sale, with less distractions, I should say, right? So that's one of the account level settings that I always set right there. I'm going to hit save. And then you can also exclude this content more kind of serious, right? Like this is probably going to be sunsetted pretty soon. And then you can also do the labels here as well, right? The labels is just going to be more stuff, picture like a movie rating, right? PG, teen, mature audiences, right? But the things that I am definitely going to get on, if you're doing, like my agency, we specialize in lead gen and e-com, right? Very rarely is somebody that's going to be playing a game going to be opting into a lead form. Very rarely that somebody's going to be playing a game are they going to be purchasing stuff, right? Unless you're selling games on games. Not going to be doing that. Live streaming content, same kind of thing, right? Below the fold, right? I want to, if I'm going to pay for my display ads, I want the fuckers up top. I don't want them buried down below, right? I don't want them throwing my little text ads at the very bottom. And I don't want to be on park domains, right? I don't want to be on some domain that's just, like, let's say, MX Live. Just look and see what that is, right? Park domains, right? They're utilized a lot of times with, content that's just not valuable, right? You're literally being aggregated with a bunch of different services, and they're more for, affiliate marketing efforts or attempts than they are for people that are actually trying to really form valuable interactions. Because a lot of times the park domains are going to be text ads as well. They're not going to be fully visual ads where you're not going to get the huge impact. So those are the things, the settings. I'm always going to start off on limited inventory, 95% of the time. I'm always going to eliminate games, live streams, below the fold as well, and park domains as well. I don't like. I'm going to get rid of those, and those are going to be account wide, right? So regardless of whether or not I'm doing a search campaign or display campaign or YouTube campaign, these settings are going to be the account settings. And then again, what do we do in every single account, right? No matter what we're talking about, don't apply suggestions. All right. I'm concerned about performance. You don't really have to make any comments on it, but just gives them. So that's really the account level settings. And again, a lot of times I'm going to use these just primarily if there's one setting that I know no matter what day of the week it is, this particular, like if I'm selling baby clothes, right? I don't need to be on sexually suggestive content. I don't need to be on mature content. I don't need to be on games, right? There's just, you can form really, really quick, just logical perceptions and conclusions about what and where your customers are. And again, if you can make sure that you're equating for where they're not right off the bat, then you're really, really focusing more on that rifle method, and you're only going to increase your conversions with with more highly targeted relevant messages to these people that are going to shorten their sales cycle, reduce touch points, which is only going to lower costs for you and going to make sure you're putting more money back in your pocket. So we're going to jump into more actually the settings of the campaign level and how to really control when and where these ads are being shown and at what rate they're being shown in the next video. So I'll see you in there.